Can a single tube of maternal blood screen for Down syndrome with nearly 99% accuracy? Yes, but remember, it's still a screen, not a diagnosis. Let's explore the fascinating science behind this breakthrough. Cell-free fetal DNA in maternal circulation. In maternal plasma, tiny DNA fragments circulate freely. Most are maternal, but about 3 to 15% come from the placenta, representing the fetal genome. Analyzing this placental DNA allows safe, non-invasive screening for chromosomal aneuploidies. These DNA fragments arise mainly from placental cell apoptosis, not fetal red cell breakdown. They're very short, under 450 base pairs, and travel packaged in tiny apoptotic bodies or nucleosomes. Cell-free fetal DNA turns over fast. Its half-life is about 16 minutes near term. Levels rise until approximately 10 weeks, stay steady through 21 weeks, then climb again in the third trimester, and within 2 hours after birth, it disappears completely from maternal circulation. Fetal DNA can be detected as early as 18 days after embryo transfer, even before placental circulation forms, around day 28. That's why screening can begin as early as 9 weeks of gestation. These dynamic features, placental origin, rapid turnover, predictable rise with gestation, form the scientific foundation of modern non-invasive prenatal screening, revolutionizing aneuploidy detection. Till now, we have explored how placental cell-free DNA circulates in maternal blood. Now let's move to the next question. How does the lab actually detect an extra chromosome using those tiny fragments? Three validated laboratory approaches are used worldwide. First, massively parallel shotgun sequencing. Second, targeted chromosome-specific sequencing. And third, SNP-based methods, which we'll cover later. Let's understand the first two. The first technique, reported in 2008, was massively parallel shotgun sequencing. Here, all the DNA fragments, maternal and placental, are sequenced simultaneously. Each fragment's first 36 bases are read and aligned to its chromosome of origin. If a fetus carries an extra chromosome 21, the proportion of reads mapping to chromosome 21 will be slightly higher than expected. For example, in a pregnancy where 10% of total cell-free DNA is fetal, a trisomy 21 fetus will show about 1.05 times more chromosome 21 reads than normal. By sequencing millions of fragments and comparing the relative counts, the system calculates a z-score to separate normal from aneuploid cases. The second strategy, targeted massively parallel sequencing, also called chromosome-specific sequencing, reads only selected genomic regions. It focuses on non-polymorphic loci from clinically important chromosomes 13, 18, 21, X, and Y. Because only a small subset of DNA is analyzed, the lab needs far fewer reads, boosting efficiency, cutting sequencing cost nearly tenfold, and even allowing use of compact benchtop sequencers. The principle remains the same. Count the reads from each target chromosome and look for subtle overrepresentation indicating trisomy. So, what's the difference? Shotgun sequencing scans the entire genome, comprehensive but data-heavy and costly. Targeted sequencing zooms only on the key chromosomes, faster, cheaper, and equally accurate for common trisomies. Today we learned how massively parallel and targeted sequencing detect aneuploidy through precise DNA fragment counting. In part 3, we'll decode the SNP-based approach. This content is entirely adapted from Creasy and Resnick's Maternal Fetal Medicine, 9th edition. It's designed to simplify textbook concepts and encourage thorough reading of the original chapter. Every effort has been made to ensure accuracy. If you notice any discrepancy, please reach out.